This is Miss V with topics in psychology with what's hot and what's not. In my series, Stay Home with Me, today I thought that I would talk about the approach avoidance conflict. This was pioneered by Kirk Lewin. The approach avoidance conflict, it occurs when there is one goal or event that has both positive and negative consequences and characteristics that make the goal appealing as well as unappealing. Now, in marriage, for example, we're going to use marriage since a lot of us are still self contained with our spouses at home. In most marriages, there is a dominating or a dominant and a recessive. And so this approach applies to the dominant because the dominant in the relationship genuinely is the decision maker. So when someone is married, for example, there are positives such as vacations, honeymoons, cookouts, but then there are negatives. The in laws, the financial situation, arguments pertaining to how to raise the children, how to discipline the children. So, this is where the conflict comes in. This positive aspect sometimes outweighs the negative, but yet it does not remove the negative. So, as I stated, the decision maker, the influence, and the conflict, because the decision maker has to make a goal for everybody. And so they might approach proposing to the partner with excitement because of the positive aspect. So the decision maker may say, well, the good thing is about Christmas is that it comes once a year. And so we don't have to deal with our in laws but once a year. And so this is what the decision maker is faced with. If a person was thinking of starting a business, for example, and they would be faced with positive and negative aspects as well. The positive, the business could be successful, it could grow, it could make money. The negative, it could go under, it could go bankrupt. Now, you might say, what does this have to do with staying at home with me? Well, when you're together, the same situation applies because there are positives about being home together as well as negatives. Some marriages last because the partners go to work, they interact with other people, they don't have to think about financial situations, they don't have to think about any of the negative consequences or negative portions of their marriage. And then they come home, they have dinner, they talk a little bit, and to bed they go. But when you're staying home under these circumstances and you have no outlet, this is when most of the negative aspects of the marriage start to come out. This is when the arguments occur. This is when the problems begin. And so the dominant person, the decision maker, if they fall too deep into the negative, it's very hard to pull out because eventually, God willing, things return to normal. You have now had all of this destruction going on. And as I stated, I am a studier of personality disorders. So the passive individual will start to truly ignore the dominant character or spouse in the relationship. And this may continue way beyond our self containment. So I suggest that you find a common ground. So, as I conclude, find separate things to do. And next week, we will be discussing separation anxiety. Yes, believe it or not, you can have separation anxiety from your daily routine. So for now, I invite you to subscribe and join my Patreon list where you get to see all of Miss V's bloopers and the things that go on behind the scenes. So, until next week, we'll talk again. God bless.